Welcome everybody has this start now. Welcome to our masters, Brother Johan, Hualien Dharma team, and brothers and sisters around the globe to Saturday Hualien Dharma talk. Let us start the session for today. Recently, disaster has happened so randomly one after another due to the great imbalance of climate. Now with the COVID-19 pandemic around the world, Master has great concern and earnestly urge everyone to be kind and adopt vegetarian meals to protect lives and cultivate our great love to living beings and for the goodness of society and the world. Let us turn our sincere prayers into the 10 directions. May the Hualien be free from disaster and peace prevail in the world. Now let us turn our sincere prayers into the 10 directions. May the Hualien be free from disaster and peace prevail in the world. Let us sing the prayer song with sincere piousness.
In my heart, I feel deep gratefulness. All my heart is filled with sincere prayer from all corners of the world. Let us join our hearts and pray for a world of harmony and peace. From my heart, I pray. May we join our hands, our hearts as one. Spread the seeds of great love, nurture wisdom evermore. Let us fill the world with hope. In my heart, I feel deep gratefulness. May all the Buddhas know my prayer. All united with one heart, let us end our hate with love. May there be no suffering hereafter.
May all minds be purified. May there be peace in the community. May there be no disaster in the world. Let us together pray for universal love and blessings. With loving respect, gratitude, and confidence, let us wish every person in our lives a happy body, an enlightened mind, and a total fulfillment in universal love. Now let us expand this consciousness to include every person in the world, every being in the universe. Let our unified love make this wonderful world even better. Let us all immerse ourselves in the joyful embrace of universal love. Before we hear the wonderful sharing, Let us invite other masters to lead us in paying homage to triple gems. Let us pay our respects for these teachings and explanations to the Buddha and Master Cheng Yuan by making two sincere bows. Please rise, palms together, first bow, second bow, third bow, and a bow to our beloved Abud Master who could join us today. So today we have Sister Siew Ching and Sister Moon on their Fiji Pure Heart Song story, and followed by Brother Sean, who will be sharing on habits. Okay, before we start the sharing, let us invite Sister Siew Ching for weekly summary. Sister Siew Ching, over to you.
Sister Lily, let me find my file. Okay. So good morning, everyone. Last week we had Brother Joe. It was Brother Joe's turn with the Q&As. 3 thought-provoking questions discussed in the morning of last Saturday. Question 1 was about exclusively doing city activities, or if one also enjoys other group events, to give it a miss. Brother Joe said that inner peace is important, so follow your bliss. However, if we are on the road to being a commissioner, we now need to specialize. Focus is important to be an expert, so being primarily into tea was his main advice. It is like when we are reading a book, finish the book before moving on to another. Or if you are learning a discipline, finish the degree first to be thorough. Ultimately, the choice is still yours to make. It is, after all, your own happiness. It is not a hard yes or no, but commissioning requires a certain degree of seriousness. Question 2 asks why it is that we always need to reform first before others. Brother Joe said that this is not a competition and there are no parameters. If we make a mistake, does it matter if others repent or not? Besides, how do we know others are not learning from what life has taught? Each of us can only control ourselves. That is true and that is so. Doing what is right for ourselves is the Bodhisattva path that we all know. Question 3. Need to move this. Question 3 was highlighted by a volunteer about being tired after attending to people matters. This is normal and takes time to cultivate, as we are not martyrs. When we are tired, we can rest, and then we continue when we have garnered enough strength to start again. Rest, but do not give up, or else all our cultivation would be in vain. A change in perspective is normally all that it takes to get us back on track. We should always take on not more than what we can chew, as excessiveness is borderline maniac. This journey is not to be conquered in an instant, and certainly not a day. Pace our energy to enjoy life's voyage. The middle path is also the Bodhisattva way. Sorry, then we had Master Te Huang, not Master Joe Huang, sorry. Master Te Huang shared videos showing kindness in animals. The consideration and heart in animals are very admirable. We were not taught to think of animals as being with feelings too. To numb the emotions we would feel killing them, where we turn them into food. The World Awareness Day started on 1st October 1978 as a reminder to keep meats off our plates. It Is it enough to have the awareness for just one day? Surely as human beings, we can lend a voice to those which have no voice to say. We fear death and suffer as humans do, animals sigh. Can we accept that for us to survive, nothing really needs to die? Choose not to have a collection of corpses rotting in graveyard tummies. Instead, choose to extract nature's goodness in all plant-based whole foods that are so yummy. If slaughterhouses had glass walls, the whole world would be vegetarian, says Paul and Linda McCartney. If all the surviving Beatles are vegetarian from way back in 1960, so can we? So that's it from me. I will pass on to me and share. I can't find my... okay, I'll stop sharing right now. I'll pass on to Sister Siew Ching right now to continue today. Over to you, Sister Siew Ching.
Sister Lily and Sister Su Ching for the most wonderful sharing. Okay, wait now, let me try to set up the good morning. Can everyone see the full video, the full image of Brother David? Yes,
Yes, can.
Okay, okay, good morning, Master Shen Yan, about Masters, brothers and sisters, everyone for joining since Xun Hualien, I think 5:20, and we continue today. The session that we are picking up today is from Brother David Slew's talk, the Sundays 8 p.m. talk for episode 90, Finding Multiple Silver Linings Out of the Clouds. Okay, let us, Brother David's new topic on this. In fact, the full sentence of this Chinese idiom is, when there seems to be no way out, one finds a silver lining out of the clouds. It originates from a poem in the Song Dynasty. It describes a scene where one rides a boat on a winding and precarious river filled with fog at sight initially. The moment was desperate and critical because one cannot see what's in front and where the person is heading. But at the end, unexpectedly, the fog clears out and one is able to see clear sight ahead and finds his way out of the woods. So it is to advise us when we encounter difficulty, not to give up so fast. I think we also heard before, right? When the front door is closed, there's always another window open for us. So in every adversity, there's a hidden silver lining which leads to unlimited hopes. As long as we perverse with an open mind and creativity, we will be able to find our way out. There's always an exit. In fact, at times there are multiple exits, not just one. It is unavoidable that every one of us encounters such moments of desperation in our life. It happens to a family, an organization, an association, or even a country, etc. That's why we need to have risk management and prevention. However, there's an even more important step before we carry out risk management and prevention. That is the management of our mind. If we can't even manage our mind, how can we manage our thoughts, emotions, perceptions, and attitude, and etc.? Can't even manage ourselves. So, Brother David said, to overcome difficulty, we must first build the right mindset. For the mind is the master, whereas external conditions is the slave. To be able to find a way out eventually, we must nurture a clear mind. If we allow our emotion to be swayed by external conditions, then we are allowing our mind to be the slave of others. This is a distorted way of living. I think we all also heard, I think quite recent, there's this another talk by my brother David Liu on who's the master and the slave. So this is talking about the mind as the master and the external conditions as the slave. To use a grateful heart to accept the adversities, then create wisdom out of it by turning it into body. Similarly, such life is suffering. Don't reject them. Learn to accept suffering willingly without giving rise to afflicted reactions. Treat sufferings as our teacher. Only then we can have alternate way out. Sometimes we feel that we are in great difficulties at the bottleneck situations in life when there's no way out. Actually, the bottleneck is only at the appearance level. The true bottleneck formed much earlier, which we were not aware of. And what is the real bottleneck? Our mindset. It means we are stuck with our own perception, views, or thinking. We refuse to jump out of the box. We choose to confine ourselves in our own perspective. So the bottleneck of our mind is the cause, whereas the difficulty is the effect. So long we don't address the problem from the root cause, which is to transform our mindset, we will not be able to come out of the issue. Our brothers and sisters, if along the way, if anyone has questions, please feel free to stop, and we can always discuss because our sister Moon, she has something today. She's not feeling really well. So so this session is open to everyone until 7. Okay, the next slide on this. Every morning we wish to go to work happily and return home safely. That's our aim for those who are working. I mean, else we also wish to have a safe and steady life and a life of peace, right? But many of us are not so. They are depressed and moody. Why? Not because they encounter some tragic incidents, but because of their inability to handle their emotions and thoughts. Such people that tend to easily exaggerate trivial matters into great suffering. You say what? Make a mountain out of a small molehill. All these unnecessary afflictions stem from the mind. First stories that Brother David shared. There's this Singaporean entrepreneur who is very busy at work and seldom joins city activities. He ran a 5-star golf course hotel. One day, when he joined a city meeting, he looked very moody and complained that he encountered multiple unlucky incidents for a few days in a row. Nothing went his way. First, he cut his finger. Then he stumped his feet. And worse, he met with a minor car accident. But what takes the cake has yet to come. One day, worst of all, he fell into a drain at his very own golf course while he was jogging. He lamented continuously, complaining that he was very unhappy, troubled, and down over this odd series of bad luck. Then Brother Liu told him, "You are adding negative comments to your bad encounters. This does not help you in any way. You are only magnifying your afflictions. You should give rise to right mindfulness, accept the bad encounters with a grateful and joyful heart." He asked Brother David how to be positive and be grateful in this kind of this series of unfortunate events. Brother David replied to him, "Not only should you be grateful, you should also accept it joyfully. Then only you can eliminate your karma. Don't keep complaining and be grumpy." The entrepreneur then asked, "How to give rise to right mindfulness?" Brother David said, "Honestly, you should feel lucky about what you encounter. Actually, your original life script was such that you are supposed to fall into the sea. But since you did a lot of good works, charity works, over the past 5 years and accumulated a lot of blessings, your life script was changed to falling into the drain only. Shouldn't you be grateful about this? This is turning your heavy retribution into a lighter one." This entrepreneur facial expression immediately changed to become very joyful, like a light bulb on his face. Therefore, all affinities are good affinities. If you believe it as a blessing, it will be a blessing. It all relies on this one single thought. The second story. One old man walking on the street, he was knocked off by a young bicycle rider. The old man burst out of anger and scolded this young man, cursing him with a lot of 4-letter words, all the cursing words. The young man told the old man, "You should be grateful that I knocked you down today with just my bicycle. Otherwise, normally I'm a truck driver. You could imagine if you are hit by the truck that I usually drive in. Now, the third story, Brother David said, he has two friends who are Taiwanese business partners. They run a furniture export business. Looking at how the business is going well, the major shareholders intends to buy off the remaining shares from the other minority shareholder. He wants to earn all the profit by himself. So this minority shareholder thinks that the price offered to buy his shares is way too low. Now, these minority shareholders told Brother David about it. Brother David said, both of you are good friends before, right? Don't fight over money. Though the price is not that high, you can still earn a decent sum of money too. With this money, you don't have to worry about the business anymore and you can retire early happily. Take a step back and you will see the vast sky. Fight over ego and you will be in trouble. Be satisfied and live in contentment. Now, fortunately, these minority shareholders listened to Brother David's advice and sold all his assets. Truly, Brother David says all the love deposit, 爱的存款. At that time, the United States economy recession occurred in 2008 and the order from Australia reduced significantly. They are in this furniture business, then they receive a lot of orders, export from overseas. But now in 2008, because of the recession in the US and it affected global, many factories have to be closed and some even went bankrupt because of especially those in export business. The minority shareholder survived this tragedy because he was separated from the partnership. He is now enjoying his life in Taiwan, whereas the other major shareholders who bought over all his stake now is tied up with severe financial crisis. So long as we haven't reached the end of the story, we cannot conclude if selling the shares is a blessing or the other way. Therefore, Brother David said, Master says, the bigger the business is, the bigger the karma is created. This is akin to Brother David's business. This last time in Malaysia, we went to work in his cloth factory. Like to him, it's like going to hell every day. So entrepreneurs making money should uphold an impermanent mindset, whereas entrepreneurs losing money should uphold the mindset of law of cause and effect. I think likewise for us too, when we are in very smooth conditions, we have to uphold this impermanent, mindful of the impermanence. Nothing is permanent. And when we are facing challenges, we are mindful of this law of causes and conditions. It is not that there is no way out, because God always live and exist for everyone. The problem lies in us being obsessed with what we perceive as the only solution. If only we are detached from our own view or opinion, then we will find that there are many other alternate ways. Our fate depends on our mindset, on the mindset that we harbor. Transforming our thought can transform our fate. The fourth story. Last time, Brother David, when he was in Singapore, he used to also spend some time in Singapore as a Sis CEO in Singapore. A senior volunteer bought a new car. The senior volunteer was very troubled because the car plate number is 4453 in Cantonese, symbolizes not inauspiciousness. I think Mandarin not really, but more in Cantonese tone. Die, no life, like die, no life. But Brother David told him that he didn't think it in that way though. Brother David pronounced it in Mandarin as everything will go your way smooth and sound. Sis is always everything will go your way smooth and sound. So after 10 years of driving the car, these senior volunteers say that everything is fine and everyone is safe. And he used this car 4453 car plate car to fetch bodhisattva for tzu activities. So we see all of this is just one thought. Imagine many people bidding for the single number or the so-called auspicious number, and all this number will go for free. But yet everything is from our mind, from this one thought. Next story. One day, Plato asked Socrates, what is love? Socrates told his students to pick up an apple from the garden, but with the condition that he can only pick one time and can only walk forward. He cannot turn around and he cannot pick another one. He cannot walk back. The students went in, saw the apples along the row of apple tree, saw one after another, and one looks bigger and juicier than the other. The student marched forward in hopes of picking the biggest and juiciest one. But when he reached the end, none of the apples were as good when compared to the earlier apples. So he came out of the garden empty-handedly. Socrates said, this is love. One always thought that there are better ones ahead, gave up the current ones to pursue further. Even those married ones, they thought the other outside is better. In the end, one ends up getting nothing. Or worse apple. The moral of the story is there is no perfect lover on earth. The next one is not necessarily better. That's choose who you love and love whom you choose. No regret, no complaints. Okay, another day, Plato asked Socrates, what is marriage? So Socrates told his student to chop a tree with the biggest trunk, but with the conditions that he can only chop one tree and can only walk forward, no turning back. The student did so and brought back a typical tree trunk, which is not very big, nor very small. The student said, I learned from the previous lesson. As long as I see one that looks good, though it's not the biggest, I chop it down immediately so I won't miss it and out anymore. Wow, this student is very wise. He learned from his earlier apple lesson. So Socrates said, this is marriage. No matter who and how many candidates you pick and choose, it can't beat a 3 lifetime marriage affinity. Therefore, if you married a woman or vice versa, marry a man, it's a rare affinity to be a couple. Yeah, there's a belief of this 3 lifetime marriage affinity. For one person to get married to another, it takes 3 lifetime for this to happen. Recognize this affinity, cherish it, appreciate and nurture the marriage. That is marriage. Okay, then another day, Plato asked the student again, Socrates, what is bliss? Same principle. Socrates asked his student to pluck out the most beautiful flowers with the conditions that he can only pluck one time and must walk ahead, no turning back. Just after a short while, Plato plucked out a flower and handed it to Socrates. Socrates asked him if this is the most beautiful flower in the garden. Plato said he believed it to be the most beautiful flower, and without hesitation, he plucked it out. Even though he saw many more beautiful flowers on his way out of the garden, but Plato insisted with faith that the flower he had plucked was the most beautiful. He never wavered in his faith. Now, how do we relate these 3 stories from Socrates to our topic today? Socrates taught the right value of life to Plato. Whether one is in the cloud or find the silver lining, it is not related to anything else but our own mind. How we perceive a matter determines our success in life. If we are stuck or attached with our own thoughts, we will likely see things as no way out. But if we can break through our perception, then we can have multiple ways out, and the path ahead of us will be smooth, broad, and unhindered. Sorry, just now back to the third stories. I'm not yet finished. Okay, it's in a PowerPoint. Socrates stated This is bliss. To be at bliss is not to own the best or the most beautiful thing, flower. Okay, in this case, the flower, but to see everything as the best and most beautiful. Happiness is not how much you gain, but to be content with what you already have. That's why the mind is the master and the external conditions is the slave, but often it's the other way around for afflicted human beings. So no way out or multiple way out. It depends on just our mind. That's why Master Chen Yan always say, be mindful at all times. Okay, I've reached the end of my, not yet. Still got story from. Okay, this the fifth story about another man, about a man who bought a car at number. This is also not auspicious car plate number 9413. Cantonese mean 941. Like 9 death, 1 survive. This is very bad. Sounds so bad luck, so inauspicious. This man was very frustrated and he wanted to change the plate number. But Brother David interpreted it as doing one kind deed every day. I think it's in Mandarin. So what you think, you see in different language, it sounds differently. So what you think is how it will affect your life. Think positive, don't be superstitious, and don't overthink unnecessarily. That's the strength if one is able to master the mind. Like Brother David, you see every time people approach him with not good incident, Brother David is always able to transform it to a positive energy. Next story. Okay, one day, a volunteer drove Brother David to lunch. When they reached the place, they wanted to look for a car park. The car parking site is stretched over a very long road. This volunteer drove halfway down the road and saw the car park was filled, and he immediately decided to reverse. But Brother David told him, if you don't drive until the end of the road, how would you know if there isn't anyone else who wanted to leave? You still stand a chance to find one car park lot if you can be patient and be persistent. And he listened to Brother David and he drove until the end. Coincidentally, just right at the last minute, a car reversed from the parking lot and left. So they got that car park space. This is why we have to persevere in this matter. Without persisting until the end, we will never know if there's a chance or not. This is exactly the topic that we are discussing today. Persist to find silver lining out of the clouds. Okay, we are most grateful that everyone listened. And okay, we still have, let me see if Brother Sean is online. Good morning.
Sister Siew Ching.
好，我们 still is Brother Sean not yet online. Let us open to the floor to discuss.
Morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for your sharing. You make me smile throughout listening. Whatever you're sharing, you make me smile throughout. And I just thought how wonderful it is to have a virtuous friend like Brother David, isn't it?
对
Yeah.
Truly.
Because not everybody have the affinity or the good conditions to when they are in the midst of this kind of what do you call that, ignorant or defiled mind is able to meet virtuous friends who always show them the silver lining.
Truly, it happens in our everyday life. I also face that not only family, even my working place. So that's why we are so blessed to have so many good benefactors and have masters as the great teachers that ask us to be more mindful everything. You see, every day, things that may look very bad, but if we look at it with the positive, the right mindfulness, right mindset, it will be positive. So these stories that we heard, wow, every time I listen to this Brother David's story, I also feel like truly when we face issue, I just remember of all this, just one or two of these stories, and then we will feel, what is that so bad in life? Actually, in fact, it's so good we can repay our karmic debtors earlier on. So,
yeah. We repay it while we are on the path. Isn't that so wonderful with all the virtuous friends around us? So I think
Hey, sorry, Sister Stephanie. Maybe I pass this to Sister for a while. Let me try to contact Brother Sean. In case, okay, Sister, okay. Please continue to share the stories, everyone. Let me try to contact the next sharer.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Sister.
Just sharing because I think this is what we are always practicing, what we are always trying to learn to practice. In fact, to transform our mind, to continue to transform our mind with the teachings that we receive. But I think in order to transform, most importantly is that we are willing to listen. So instead of listening to that voice inside our mind, in our mindset, that has been set for many, many lifetimes, maybe, not just in this lifetime. Sometimes I think it's good to just put that aside, because if I believe there was one saying, I think by Einstein or what, if you try the same thing over and over again and it doesn't work, but you continue to do so, I think that is called insanity, he said, So,
brothers and sisters. Okay, Brother Sean is coming online now. Before, let us take this opportunity to introduce Brother Sean. I'm not sure if everyone is aware. Brother Sean is a Malaysian. So proud, and we are most grateful every time. I think a lot of great session, Diligence Day, or very important session from Taiwan. We will hear Brother Sean reporting on the major activity. Coming from the background, before he's now a pure practitioner. But before that, he's just like all of us. And today's Wisdom at Dawn that we follow, chapter 8, episode 1142, it reminded me of Brother David. Somehow I'm very grateful. Every time the opening, I will be able to see the verses that resonate with the sharer. Brother Sean reminded me of these verses. Kaundinya, respectfully practice according to the teachings. With the provisional teachings, he engaged in uninterrupted practice and extended practice. When he first heard, he awakened and remained a senior disciple. Kaundinya at first formed small affinities. Thus, he was first to be awakened at Deer Park. Son of body at first formed small affinities. Thus, he was first to be awakened in the cycle of teachings of the Dharma. This is how small and great affinities each have their differences. From normal people like us, Brother Sean is back to master side, Hualien, tapping masters as a pure practitioners from the small affinities, and today he has these great affinities due to his reverence, respect, and mindfulness in listening to the Dharma. He's able to comprehend. Okay, see if Brother Sean is online. Then we can, Brother Sean. Okay, okay, let us welcome Brother Sean to share with us. Over to you, Brother Sean.
Morning, everyone. I'm Sean. Nice to meet you, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Brother Sean.
Yeah, perfect.
No, you're here.
Yes.
I think no image and no sound yet, brother.
We can hear Sis Siew Ching.
Yeah.
Brother Sean looks thinner than what I see in the picture. Must be very hectic life. Oh, they can hear me. Okay, maybe something wrong with my side here.
So should I proceed or?
Please go ahead, Brother Sean.
Perfect. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sean. I'm Malaysian. I think most of you may know. Since I came to Taiwan, I didn't have much chance to speak in English. So this is such a challenge for me to share Dharma in English. This could be quite a few times of my experience sharing Dharma in English. But I think that should be fine, because I can't really speak Cantonese, but I already share a lot of Cantonese Dharma in Cantonese. Yeah, today I'm going to share about habit, as you've seen in the poster. Why should I share habit? Habit is something that I think this is most essential, that everyone, including masters, practitioners, or 资深委员, commissioners, and even every one of us should understand, because this is so important that that will affect our life, daily life. So what matters with the habit? So if you ever heard masters Zheng Yan, and also masters Ying Shun, and also others, monk or nun, they have teach about this word, then you will know why habit is so important. In the 人间佛教principle, that there is, I mean, 人间佛教 means humanistic Buddhism. It says about the importance of habits, because if you have a good habits, if you have a good habits, you have a perfect humility that lead you to achievement of Buddhahood. In Chinese, we say it, 人格成即佛格成. If you can be a perfect human, then you can become a Buddha. So you can attain the Buddhahood. This is what it says. So in all the Buddhist lineage, we mentions about cultivation, 修行. 修行 is a way to change our habits, lead us to attain the Buddhahood. So for Master Zheng Yan, Sangren always mentions about cultivation. 修行 is not something that far away from us. That cultivation is something that actually happening, each one in our daily life, that happen not only in the temple, not happen only during meditations, but cultivations, 修行, is actually happen in our daily life. So in Chinese, 修 and 行 is two single words. 修 for masters, she interpreted as 修身养性, cultivates one's morality, and 行 masters interpret as 端正行为, corrects one's behavior. So with cultivations, with the non-stop improvement of our habits, correct our behavior and morality, we can attain Buddhahood. That's the purpose why we want to cultivate ourselves. That's the purpose why we want to learn Dharma. That's the reason why we want to the purpose why we want to cultivate is to achieve the perfect humanity. So to attain the Buddhahood. So that's the purpose of cultivation. So since cultivation is so important, and with cultivations, we can change our habit, it can cultivate our morality, and then change our behavior and attain Buddhahood. But why don't any one of us online can attain the Buddhahood right now? Why? Each one of us, you try our best to cultivate, no matter listens to Dharma, or we try to change our behavior, the way we speak, and anything. Why? What is the obstacles that refrains us from being perfect? So there must be something that refrains us being perfect. So in Buddhist, in Buddhism, we say that is habit, 习气. 习气 is something that is coming together with us from our past life. That's what we said, 习气 in Mandarin, in Chinese. 习气 is something I can't really get another words, but I think 习气 and habits should be the same. But that in English, habit could be like your attitude or something like that. But in Mandarin, 习气 is something that can represent very strong something that much more than habit. But I don't find any better words, so I would say habit, 习气 is equal. But in English, I try to seek for explanations, proper explanations on what Western people they interpret habit. Just came across a paper, a journal paper named Philosophia. There's a discussions about habit and intention. So it says that habits is something human behavior that cannot be accounted by ascribing intentions of any kind. That means a habit is something that is unintentional. Habit is something that is not purposely, that when you interact with people, you had a bad habit, for example, like scratching your head or something like that. So this is without intention. There's something that without intention. But in Buddhism, 习气 or habit is something that we can say this coming since you are small, within the same family, you have your sibling, brothers, sisters, but each one of them, they have different habit. Although they are grow in the same family members, teach by the same teachers, having same parents, but they have different habit, different 习气. But habit, this word, 习气, this is something that is neutral. So maybe we in Su Ching or in Buddhism, we always say that, oh, 你的习气很重, you have a strong habit, but that isn't something that is, proper way to say, because habit, it can be a good habit or bad habit. This is a neutral word. So before, at first, when I become a Buddhist, I would think that habit, the word 习气, is something negative words. No, that is not. Habit or 习气 is something neutral. So it can be a good habit, 好习气, and it can be a bad habit, 坏习气. So habit is something neutral. So that means habit itself is something interchange. We can change habit. So habit is something neutral. If you do good deeds, you could do good practice or cultivate yourself from bad habit, you can change into good habit. That is something that is changeable. So I came across the story from Master. There's a story of Arahat crossing a river. This story is quite similar in the Christianity. Moses crossed the Red Sea. So by rising up the cross, and then the wind blow, and then the ocean fall apart, and then Moses crossed the Red Ocean. But this is in a Buddhist way. This is a story of Arahat crossing a river. So Arahat, I think most of you online should know. Arahat is someone that attained the 世果罗汉. So this is a very good, very high level practitioner. So they already attained the Arahat level. So one day the Arahat is going to Buddha's teaching. So Buddha's teaching is over the river. So Arahat every day he have to cross over the river. So what he do? As an Arahat, they have a very high practice, and also they attain a very high level of what we say morality 人格. So they actually have some power, what we say is 神通, supernatural power. So Arahat can communicate with the river god. So what we said is a Hershen, a river god. So so when Arahat want to goes to the opposite side through the river, so Arahat will tell the river god, I want to cross over. So please open up the river. But this Arahat, he always, when he trying to cross the river, he will say, Babu, open up. I want to cross over. I want to walk over. So what is Babu? Babu is someone that that serves us as a servant, or someone that is low class or insignificant. So this is how the Arahat told the river god, Babu, open up. I want to walk over. So every day when he wants to go to listen to Buddha's teaching, and then he would just instruct the river god as Babu. So of course, as a river god, she or he should be someone that is very high, also someone that with high practice. That's why he or she can become a river god. And then every day, he or she, because due to the respect to the practitioner, he do the same thing, help the Arahat to open up the river, and then let him cross over. But every day, he or she called as a Babu, so he get upset. So one day, the river god can't tolerate anymore. So he get upset, and then he went to complain to the Buddha. So right there, Arahat, Buddha is over there, and then the river god told Buddha, Buddha, I'm so sad. Your disciple keep always calling me Babu. This is some words that is not nice. I'm feel so upset. So the river god complained to the Buddha. So at the Buddha and Arhat, they are all together, and so many disciples over there. Then the river god get upset and then complain to the Buddha. And then Buddha asked the Arhat, why would you do such bad manners to call river gods as Babu? Why should you do that? He or she always helping you to open up the river. Why should you call the Babu? So the Arhat said, oh, that wasn't my intention. That wasn't my intention. I just, if I made her feel that way, I'm feel very sorry. I'm sorry for it. I apologize to Babu. So on site, Arhat says, mention the, say sorry to the river god, but he still can't change the way he speak to the river god. He still called the river god as Babu again. So this is something that is ridiculous. So when you want to call sorry to someone, you won't keep look down, or say Babu. Babu is not a word that's not nice, but he can't change that. So the Buddha said, "This is just his habit." Why? Arahat is someone that with very high practice, they achieve a very high level of cultivation. But he can't change that easily. Why? The Buddha said, because this Arahat has a very deep affinity with the river god. So the river was once his servant. So this Arahat have this habit. He keep calling, the servant Babu in his past life. And that's why in this life, he still keep calling the river god as Babu. So this is just his habit. So he's not intentionally. So this is what we call unintentional action. So this is habit. So the Buddha said, oh, okay, the Arahat is not purposely to look down on you. No, he's not doing that. This is just his habit. So, but habit is something that is not easy to change. Even Arahat, this is just a story. A story inside the Buddhist scripture that told us that habit is something that is not easily that we can change, even in front of Buddha. And he's trying to say sorry to the river god, but he just can't change his word. So this is what we call habit. That's human behavior that cannot be accounted by a sufficient intention of any kind. So in very short words, we say that it's actions without intention. So this is what in Buddhist we call a shishi, some of the habits that you pass from the past life. Yeah, so there's a Jing's aphorism in Su Ching. this is one of our topics today. So Master says that in Chinese, 大错误容易反省，小习气不容易去除。In English, it means that it's easily to reflect on our major mistakes, because major mistakes is something that explicit, something that you can see from outside. So when you do some mistake, many people can see you directly. So you can easily to make a reflex by repentance ourselves. But the small bad habit, this is what we call 习气, 小习气. It's something that is very hard to eliminate. Yeah, for example, like greedy. So some of the people, they tend to be a little bit more bad habits on greedy. So when they go to market, they will discuss with the store owner. They said, oh, okay, I buy $20 vegetables. Can I get extra this, extra that? So they try to get extra things. So when they go to supermarket, they see it's a free sample, they ask for 2 rather than just 1. So they have the bad habits. So bad habits is something that is very hard to eliminate. So, but the major mistakes is something that easily we can reflect and repentance. So this is why, the reason why we want to join Tzu Chi, the reason why we want to become a commissioners, because we want to change the bad habit. Because in Tzu Chi, as a Buddhist, we are cultivation. We are here to cultivate ourselves. So the Ching aphorism says that it is easily to reflect on major mistakes, but hard to eliminate small bad habits. So as what the Arhat done, so bad habits is something that is very hard to eliminate. But how these habits are formed? Since we say that habits is something that comes with you from past life, but how habits is formed? So how it's formed? In 行为学, in very scientific ways, we actually can track how habits is actually formed. It's actually come from our routine daily life. In Chinese, we call 行为. In our routine actions, 行为. If you repeat it for someone says 21 days, someone says maybe for 10,000 hours, the routine, the 行为 that you perform will become what? You'll become your 习惯, a conduct. So for example, like you keep studying for 21 days, so you stop at the 22nd days, but normally, easily you can catch up with your previous routine, 行为, so that it become your 习惯. That what maybe I'm not sure if that words English conduct words is proper. So if you keep repeat a routine, then that will become your conduct or behavior. So if you continue having that behavior or conduct, and slowly that will become your habit. So habit come after conduct, or in Chinese the words I'm more familiar from 行为 change to 习惯, and then slowly, if you doesn't make a correction, that 习惯 will change into 习气. And then if you doesn't awareness of the habit, the bad habit, you doesn't change it, that will control your fate. So fate is something closely related to our habit. So someone might say, oh, after I joined Tzu Chi, I feel that my fate is changing. That's true. There's something true. Even myself, I can feel the change of my fate since my university life. Before and after I joined Tzu Chi, I can feel the fate of me change dramatically. I can tell. Why? Because I changed my habit. I try to change my behavior, my conduct, and then my habit. I can't say that I changed all my habit, but portions of that For example, like the way I speak to people. Before that, I have very bad habit because I trying to laugh at people, talking bad jokes on people, and then I have a very bad temper. So I have very good affinities with my friends, but that because of my habits, sometimes people get mad at me. Yeah, that happens. But after I change my habit, I can feel the affinity with my friends and the life from myself. I can see the change of my faith. Faith is not something that is很神秘的. It's not something that is suspicious or what. This is always we go for the fortune teller. So they look at our palm and said, "Oh, your hands have a living line. So your faith is like this or like that." But Master said, 手相. If we hold our hand, you are holding our faith. If you are holding your habits, you are holding your faith. This is how we change our faith. So if we look it deeper, routine and conduct is something that is intentional. This is something that you can control yourself. This is something that you can change, which means that habit and faith is something unintentionally, as I told just now. So we can intentionally change our behavior, our routine and conduct, and then that could lead to change of our unintentionally habit and faith. So faith can be changed. So if we doesn't control our faith, that will change. That will lead into our next life. Bring into our next life. That might have. I mean, some of us that might go to 六道 the 畜生道, become an animal, or can go to heaven. So karma, it will change into karma. So, but the habit, how the habit is from, that as the habit is actually coming originally from what? From what Master always told us, 多用心. So the 用心, what is 用心? Mindfulness. Mindfulness is actually come from the thoughts. If we can be mindfulness always, we can control our thought. The thought will change our routine. The routine can have let us do a good conduct. A good conduct can lead us to have a good habit. That good habit will lead you to have a very good faith, and then that brings you to a good karma. That brings you to a better place next life. So habit is something that we can change right now, this life, that we can change intentionally, that lead us to change unintentionally. So habit is something that is very important. So goes back to the same Ching's aphorism that I mentioned previously. Cultivation is to cultivate one's morality and also correct one's behavior. So we can change our behavior. We can change our habit. So actually, masters did teach us a lot good way to change our behavior, our habit. But masters use some ways that is different from others Buddhist lineage, Buddhism, different Dharma lineage. Masters use something that we can apply into our daily life, not just by using meditations. Meditations is something that people think, oh, sitting there and then you having a self-reflex and control your breath. That's what Jen Chan calls as cultivations. But for masters teach us a lot of good ways to cultivate ourselves in our daily life. So for the first for the first year when I joined Sis Siew Ching, what helped me the most during my my uni time that changed my habit. What is the best way I think that that we can use to cultivate our good habit? Actually, this is a very simple way, just a bamboo bag. although right now I'm a pure practitioner in Jing Se Award, I would just try to keep point in whenever I buy something, I'll keep some point, and then every day I will make a good vow, and also I will remind myself to cultivate good habits, and then to help people, to be less greedy, to be less hatred, and then I will donate that 10 Taiwan dollar, and then to make a vow to change my good habits, change to have a good habits, and then to help more people. So habit is something that we can change, and by using a bamboo bank this way, this is a very simple, and this is not something that we say, wow, this is looks like so 很宗教式的，很仪式性的，what we said with a lot of ritual. This is actually a small but a very, very good way. This is a rituals that is special in Su Ching. So Master said, every day, I'm not here to ask you to donate $15 per week per month, but I hope that you donate 50 cents per day. So this is how Masters want us to cultivate our good habit. So it starts from every day, morning. Whenever you want to go out, having start your day, just donate 50 cents or $1. That actually cultivate us a very good habit. So I will use the same model that I shared with you just now. As you donate 50 cents or $1 or any amount of money in a bamboo bank, that if that become your routine 行为, and you repeat it every day, keep repeat it every day, that become a good conduct, a good 习惯, 好习惯. So that always tell you, oh, okay, whenever when we make a donations, we make a good vow, and then we wish we can help more people, that will become your conduct. So whenever you go to, anywhere you see people need help, the good conduct from your intention will come up. That will lead you to having a good conduct to help people, and then that good conduct will lead you to having a good habit. So that good habit, you bring it with you, and then that will lead you to a good fate, a lucky life. What do you call as lucky life? The fate is actually controlled by our intention. If we intention, we will think that we are lucky. We are very lucky one. We feel gratitude. We can earn what we have. We feel 知足 with what we have. So we feel contentment every day when we make donations. That become a good conduct. That good conduct will lead you to a good habit that is unintentional. So we are easily helping people feel positive in our life. That will lead us to a very good fate. So the good fate that will lead you back to a good routine, then it keeps repeating intentionally or unintentionally, that gives us a good karma. That good karma is where it's come from. So it comes back to the heart. So making donations 50 cents per day, that is not something that Masters want us to just donate money, but that is a way to treasure, to build up a good thoughts. Every day we have 86,400秒 86,864,000 86,000 86,400 seconds every day. We in 1 hour, sorry, in 1 hour, one day, 86,400 every day we have our 86,400 seconds per day. So within each of the seconds, we should observe ourselves. We have more good thoughts or bad thoughts. So if we have more good thoughts, we'll be having a good life. if you have more bad thoughts, your life will be always bad. If we can easily see this through the friends of our beside us. Why we say so? We can see some of the people, they keep blaming about things happening all around his life. So the friends would always have a bad fate, bad luck, because in his thought, that's full of bad thoughts. The bad thoughts will lead him to a bad routine, and then the bad routine will lead him to a bad conduct, and then the bad conduct will lead him to have bad habits, and then that will lead him to having a bad life. So that is how the karma goes. So how we can change our fate, our habit, is actually coming from thought. So how master teaches to making donations every day, bamboo bank, to build up a good habit, a good thought. And there are a lot of different ways that masters actually teach us. For example, master said, 走路要轻，怕地会痛. What is in English? We should walk softly because we shouldn't hurt the land. 走路要轻，怕地会痛. So this is a way master teaches to observe our actions. Observe our actions. So from that observation, the thoughts, because we want to protect our Mother Earth, the land. So we work softly. This is not things that you work hard that will hurt the land. Well, this is just a way master teaches us to having a good thought, be mindful on our feet. So this is a way Su Ching lineage teach us to practice to cultivate ourselves using by be mindful, by observing our thought, by controlling our thought intentionally. That will lead us to having a good karma, good fate. I have come across a book called Atomic Habit. This is a book that I think is quite good, that told us how to change our habit. So this is a very good graph. If you are having some having some experience in reading graph, you should be able to understand this graph easily. So the curve is actually our actual life. The curve is actually our daily actual life, and then this slope is something that in our mind. This is what we thought, what we think that things happens. This is what we thought things should happen. But this curve is actual, what the actual happened in our life. So what it says so we think that if we work hard, we will achieve a good goal. But in actual, you have to work very hard for quite a long time before we can get the results. Before we can get the results. So it goes quite exponentially, but with a little bit lack of speed. So you can see a curve here. So this is what in actual life, what happens in actual life. So in between, there's the differences between actual life and also what we think. There's a big gap. So this big gap is what we call valley of disappointment. So this is what a Buddhist newbie will always give up on cultivations. Why? Because they will think that, I already practiced for 1 month, 2 months, or 1 year. I can't change. I can see the change. So this is what happens here. The gap between actual and in our thoughts. There's actually the gap. So in this valley of disappointment, that will lead us to give up. So how we can change? That is what we call 毅力、勇气, the perseverance and confidence, and also the courage. It's very important because we always fall in the trap of valley of disappointment. We want to see the result as soon as possible, but changing a habit, it needs times. So this is a very scientific way to see how we change our habit. In this book, told more on that. If you have time, you can read a little bit on that, and then you can find out that habit is something that is very interesting. You can control your habit actually. You can actually change your fate by intentionally change your behavior. So this is what Atomic Habits in the books it tells us. So sometimes me and myself, I will fall into the trap of valley of disappointment too. But one day when I listened to Master Dharma, 成语近似成语 so the in master teaching, morning teaching, during the master teaching of the Lotus Sutra Chapter 1 introductions, Masters mentions about the Buddha to be was once the fame seeker. I'm not sure if you heard that before, because there are a lot. Lotus Sutra, they have 28 chapters. So each of the chapters, they have about more than several hundred thousands of words. So this part is actually just a very, very, very small parts that many people will not actually keep in mind. But that part very struck me a lot. Why I say so? I try very hard to change my habit. I try very hard to have a good habit, to cultivate myself. But always I can see people around me, or sometimes me myself, I have a bad habit. Or sometimes I will think that as a practitioner, why should you seek for fame? 为什么为了自己的名利? We are here to cultivate ourselves. Why we seek for fame? But in Lotus Sutra, Chapter 1, the introductions part, the last part, if you have time, you can go back to the Lotus Sutra, the last few sentences of the first chapter, introduction part, it mentions about the Buddha to be, 弥勒菩萨, it's going to become a 弥勒佛. Next, that Buddha to be after Sakyamuni. So there will be Mitra, the Bodhisattva Mitra will become the next Buddha. But he was once the fame seeker. So in the Lotus Sutra chapter 1, the last few paragraph says that among 800 disciples of the Bodhisattva are Prabhupada. So there was a name, the man called Yasak Kama. Yasas Kama is the words that means the fame seeker. So in Chinese, it calls it, we call it as 求名. So Chinese is very easily to understand, 求名, fame seeker. So there's one sentence in the sutra. It says that there's one practitioner, that his name is called 求名, a fame seeker, or in the Pali words, you call it Yasaskama, a fame seeker. So, but he tried very hard to cultivate himself, to plant various roots of good merit. So he trying to do good deeds, and then he changed, and then he become the next. He will become the next Buddha. So who is that? Oh, Maitreya, 弥勒菩萨. So you know that Bodhisattva Yasaskama, fame seeker, was none other than you. So when the time I read this sentence, I was so shocked. I feel so shocked that, wow, even Bodhisattva Maitreya, 弥勒菩萨, he is someone that will become the next Buddha. But he was one, a fame seeker during his cultivations, during his the old days when he still practiced, still Su Ching. But you can see the ones, the once fame seeker is now going to become a Buddha. So after I read this sutra from I learned from masters, I feel so shocked that please don't judge others people. If the people have some bad habits, no worry. Let them take time. As long as they are trying their best, cultivate themselves, planting roots of good merits, that's all fine. Having bad habits is very normal. Even the Bodhisattva Maitreya also had some has some bad habits. So why should we, as a Fan Fu, as a normal lay practitioner, should we judge others people? No, we shouldn't do that. As long as they are trying very hard to do good deeds, that's all fine. So if we encounter others people to see they have a certain degree of bad habit, just leave it aside. Don't judge other people. If we have some degree of bad habits, that is all fine, because we are on our way to cultivate ourselves to attain Buddhahood. That is a long way. So you can see from the sutra, it says that the Maitreya Bodhisattva met innumerable hundreds of thousands of merits of Buddha, and he rendered homage, honor, reverence, praise, and then he planted various roots of good merits. Then only he became today's Milapusa, Maitreya Bodhisattva. So we can see that even in the sutra, it tells that plant various good deeds, good merits. For example, like what Master Souls told Zhu Tong is something that is a good way. It's a good way to cultivate our good habit. With that good routines, good habit, one day you have a good karma, and one day you can become a good practitioner. So inside the books, Atomic Habits, goes back to the books. I feel very interesting in his perspective. Why I say so? Because every day, if you can work very hard to improve 1% every day, for example, like 86,400 seconds, we have 86,400 thoughts every day. If you can improve 1% of the total of our thoughts, 1% improvement. If it works every day for 365 days, we can improve for 37%. That's how improvement, you can see the tremendous improvement. But if we do some bad things, bad thoughts, bad actions every day, increase with 1%, you can see the decline is not much, but we should look for the good side. If we start with good deeds, start with good actions, start with good thoughts, we can improve very quick. But that is something that we have to have what? Just now I've mentioned in the Ching aphorism, masters always said, confidence, perseverance, and courage. Changing our bad habits is something that needs a very strong confidence, a very strong courage to face our bad habits. If we don't have the courage to change, to repentance, to 反思, it is easily for us, to judge others people. But when the time we having self-judgment, sometimes we don't dare to look inner enough. So that would need us to have a courage. So with confidence, perseverance, and courage, every day, one by one, step by steps, we can one day attain the Buddhahood for sure. So for Bodhisattva Maitreya, there were once the fame seeker. There's this old days, there's something that is maybe 100,000 or innumerable kalpa, 很多年很多劫以前. It is something that's long ago. But one of the top disciple of Buddha, Sariputra. Sariputra is one of the top disciple within that Buddha's disciple monk. Sariputra considered as one of the disciple with the highest wisdom. So Sariputra is one of the top disciple of Buddha. But if you listen to Master's teaching, you can come across quite a few different stories, different versions of stories that mentions about Sariputra's bad habit. Even Sariputra, one of the top disciple of Buddha, 2,600 years before, there's someone that is present exactly. This is a real person, but Sariputra, one of the top disciple of Buddha, also have a lot of bad habits. So one of the story that I came across, I keep reminding myself is that in Master teaching mentions about Sariputra has a very stubborn habit. Why I say so? Because this is according to the sutra. It's not something I create myself, because it's not good to judge the top disciple of Buddha. But this is something that to remind ourselves. We are not using that to charge someone, but remind ourselves. Sariputra, one of the top disciples of Buddha, but he having a very bad habit, a big bad habit. What we said is stubbornness. So they have about 3 different stories. One of the stories is that in Sariputra's past life, when a man bite by a snake, so the venoms goes into the body. So the doctor says the only way to help yourself is to get the snake to sucks back the venom, but the snake says that no, I will never do that. I will never do that because that should be the snake should produce yes, to swallow the venom. Yes. So I repeat the story. That story is that when a person bite by a snake, and then the doctor says you should get the snake back and then to swallow back the venom, then you can kill yourself. So the persons get the snakes, they found the snakes and they get the snakes and then bring it in front of the doctors. So the doctor says, snakes, please swallow back your venom. But does the snakes swallow back the venom? No, he doesn't do that. So everyone who says that if you, the snake, doesn't want to swallow the venom, we will throw you into fire. The snake is so stubborn that he doesn't want to swallow back the venom and then jump directly into the fires, because he thinks that this is what his principle. So he has a very stubbornness. So that stubbornness comes along with Sariputra into his current life as a practitioner, as one of the top disciples of Buddha. So he has a lot of different bad habits in the story between Sariputra and Rahula. So Rahula is actually Buddha's son. So when Buddha's still a lay person, he got a son called Rahula. So Rahula is actually the students of Sariputra. So one day Rahula do something wrongly, and then Sariputra get angry, and then he punish Rahula. So when Rahula get punished, and then the Buddha asks, why Rahula you get punished by Sariputra? So the Rahula told Buddha about why Sariputra punish him. So the Buddha just trying to tell Sariputra, says that you shouldn't punish Rahula in such a heavy punishment. So Sariputta get angry, and then Sariputta said, "Oh no, I won't do that anymore." And then he get angry, and then he doesn't want to change his thoughts, and then he get angry with Buddha. So even Sariputra, there's about 2 or 3 different stories about Sariputra, and you can read it in online or master teachings about Sariputra. You can just type in Google Sariputra habits, and you can see quite a few different stories about Sariputra. So why should I use Sariputra stories to mention? Because sometime in Tzu world, we always found out that, oh, these people have this bad habit, that people have that bad habit. So sometimes we'll get angry, sometimes we'll get pissed off, right? But don't do that. Please don't do that. It is normal for each of us to have a certain of degree of the habit. That's all fine. We are on our way to cultivate, to attain Buddhahood. We are no longer a Buddha. Even Sariputra, one of the top disciple of Buddha, also got his own habit, stubbornness. So don't judge people and don't put so hard on ourselves too. It is fine to have some degree of habit. If we found that, congratulations. Try our best to change that gradually. So from my way to change my habit, I use a lot of different ways to remind myself. Making donations by bamboo bank, using bamboo bank, and every day, for example, like every day I will wash my I'm trying to use my glasses, glasses. Why? Because glass is something that is, if you have stain, you can easily see that. So every day I will wash this glass, and I will remind myself, I'm just like this glass. I will have a lot of different bad habits that accumulating. So every day when I wash this glass, I will remind myself, try to wash yourself. Try to remove your bad habit just by washing this glass. Every day when I wash my bowl or wash myself, I remind myself, try to remove the bad habits, the bad 习气, 不好的习气. We try. That is how I cultivate myself, remind myself. Because with the thoughts, we can change what? Our behavior. If the change of behavior, the conducts, we can change our habits. With the change of habits, we can change our fate. And then intentionally, we can change our fate unintentionally. That all comes from what? Thoughts. So masters give us a very good ways to practice ourselves. A good principle. What we say is 知足感恩善解包容. It seems like something that is so normal. 知足 contentment, 感恩 gratitude, 善解 understanding, 包容 forgiveness. This is something that we say, oh, this is so simple. That is not. This is something that we should always bear in mind. This is something that we should use in our daily life. This is something that can change our fate, that can change our life. So me, myself, I try my best to use these 4 words. I mean, in Chinese, master say this is a 四神汤, the 4 are a powerful soup. 四神汤. I don't know how to translate it into English. So this is something that is very powerful that can change our life. If we use that every day, 知足感恩善解包容, we can change our life. We can change our habit. So that's all for my sharing today. I think that each one of us, when we become a commissioners or faith crop, 资深委员, we are actually working at the path towards attain the Buddhahood. We actually walks towards the Buddhahood. So we should use the teaching from masters into our daily life rather than just listening, rather than just teaching other people. We should teach ourselves. Yeah, thank you, Sister Erin. The 四神汤 is 4 spiritual soup. Yeah, so we should always bear in mind to use that 4 spiritual soup that really help us to change our habits. That's all for my sharing. I'm not sure if you have any questions from my sharing.
感恩 Brother Sean for the most superb sharing, and English is very good. 感恩 very powerful. Wow, and then also very scientific also. I'm sure we are all have benefited so much from brother's sharing. Okay, as Brother Sean has mentioned, if anyone have questions, please feel free to share. Else, if you wish, you also can PM us, our group, I think. Then we will pass the questions to Brother Sean or to be answered by the monthly Q&A session. Hey, Kaen, very, very grateful. Yeah, wow. This book that brother mentioned, Atomic Habits, wow, I first time seeing it. Really very powerful. I think for us who likes to look at the ground, people, the educated people will find it truly, it jives with what Master has mentioned, the plateau of latent potential. Often at times when we are about to give up, actually there's a point, the deep now, well, from the scientific point, we know it's the deep, that what actually happens and what we think should happen because of that differences, people give up, but actually in fact they are almost to getting the good result. So very grateful. Yeah, truly I have to have this good routine to be able to make it into our good conduct, habit, and faith, good or bad faith. Actually karma all depends on how the habits is formed. And Brother John also for reminding us on this the 4 spiritual soup. Okay, maybe before we end the session, let us seize the chance and take one group picture. Yeah, very grateful. Yeah, for those who can stay behind, there's a good session in Dharma Cantonese. Else, we also wish everyone happy volunteering. We know Jingsi Hall cleaning today, veggie promo, and the home visit people also outside doing home visit today. Is a busy day for everyone. Okay, those also taking good jaga body exercise is good for health also. How long, Brother Robert? Okay, how? Whoever can on the video, let's take one. Those in Facebook, in future we can join us in Zoom, then we can take the picture together for a good memory. Okay, to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Kaen, everyone. Sister Epi also.
Kanan, I think, sorry, I like just to say Kanan to Brother Sean, and also just to let everyone know, Brother Sean very kindly share every month, one day at Cantonese Dharma on Sutra of Infinite Meaning. So anyone, if miss, not to worry, can watch recording. Be very Kanan to Brother Sean.
Yeah, this recording for Dharma Cantonese, if you all wish, can ask from Sister Irene if you are not sure, or ask from any one of us. We also have it. I think it's also broadcasted every week in our English group. Okay, Kaen. Okay, most grateful. Yeah, Brother Sean also very kind. He also agreed to benefit us here monthly. So we are most blessed group. Brother Sean English is very good also. So truly multilingual because of his sure, good blessing.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity to practice my English and also Cantonese. Thank you so much.
Your English is very good. Better than mine. I also a bit okay. Our Brother Sean for lots of heartfelt and wisdom sharing. We are grateful to our brothers and sisters for your great presence since early in the morning, wisdom at dawn time at 12:20. Hope that each of us has sustained the Dharma joy and take in another piece of Sangren's and Hualien to our life. Let us invite Brother Sean to lead us in making 3 bows to the Buddha, and Master Chen Yan as we depart to apply these wonderful teachings in our everyday life. Let us pay our respects to our teachers of life, universal truth. Up together, first bow, second bow, third bow. Okay, 感恩大家，祝福大家平安吉祥。
Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Okay, thanks, Brother Sean.
Kanan
See you
all,
next
Kanan,
month.
Brother
Okay,
Sean.
bye bye.
Bye.